Breakdowns.
And welcome back to the Chill South Breakdowns podcast. This is take 2 because I'm nervous. You know, there's a lot of talent in the house today, but we're on episode 101, and I'm excited to have today with Hope and Tax. So we're just gonna go around really quick and have them introduce themselves and what they do in the band because I messed up and they already did it, so I apologize.
Well, to introduce myself for the very first time ever, definitely not the second. My name is Nick. I do all the guitars and stuff. I've been in the group since about 2022-ish. So, yeah, I'm glad to be here.
My name's Alexis. I'm the vocalist slash front woman because I've been here about 8-9 months or so, and so far so good.
Okay.
I'm Curtis. I'm the bass player and one of the founding members here with my brother Kerry. Started this back in 2020, and yeah.
I'm his brother Kerry. I'm the drummer. Like you said, yeah, we founded it back in 2020, and yeah, it's been something.
It's been something. Okay, so that's where we were before. Like I realized that I wasn't recording, but yeah. So with Hope and Tech started with you two back in 2020.
Yeah.
Which is I didn't know y'all were brothers, so that's kind of cool. So
Yeah.
is this
They're
is
gay
this,
lovers.
nothing
They're
alike.
on the casting couch together. They're gay lovers. Don't let them fool you.
is this the front?
We are in the South. It makes sense.
But so the band started with just y'all two. Like how did this get going?
It was us two, and then
Shane
Shane from Sins Masada.
Yeah, Shane and
Oh, okay.
Rest in peace.
And
He's not even dead.
No, Sins Masada.
Seth.
Oh, I was like, what happened to Shane?
No,
He's still alive. He's still alive.
Shane is still alive.
Sins Masada's rest in peace.
And
Cortland Glenn was our singer.
and Sebi Black was our other guitarist.
Yeah.
And that, well,
I mean, here we are today,
Yeah,
so
this-
obviously
yeah.
things changed.
The original iteration that put out Pathways and Degenerates.
yeah,
And
yeah.
then-
Well, I mean, it started as the Drop Deadlies with you two, though.
Well,
So then you kind of just
Yeah.
form this off of that.
Well, like, what is it, dissolved kind of before that. And then me and Curtis kind of were looking to start like a whole separate project, essentially, like after all of that, which we left the Drop Deadlies and our good friends Colton and Johnny with all of that. But yeah, we kind of went a whole different direction. So I wouldn't say it's exactly spurred from that, but definitely after that, for sure.
after being in that project, kind of just spurred the idea of like you wanted to do
Yeah.
something different.
Yes, yeah,
okay,
exactly.
but wanted to keep working together.
Right.
Oh yeah. We've been in bands since I was like 13.
So I was 16.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we've been playing together for
Long
a
time.
long time. Yeah.
I think like that works. Like it's the complete like backbone of a band, though. It's like a bass and drums.
Yeah,
Like, it's like,
right. No, yeah,
you can pretty much start whatever you want.
Yeah.
We got lucky.
Yeah, y'all just had the framework for any
Yeah.
project you ever
It
wanted
honestly
to do after
works
that.
because
Well, I'd say, yeah.
the rhythm section is just like constantly on the same wavelength.
On lock.
Yeah.
at
On
all
top of
times.
that too, though, Curtis has done. I mean, he's been our vocalist in projects, guitar, bass. I mean, pretty much everything except for the drums. But yeah,
I can't play drums.
Yeah,
we.
we've
Sounds like Carrie
definitely.
needs to learn more instruments.
Well-
Slacking in this family.
He actually does
like
play.
it in the same.
He actually does play bass and guitar.
Yeah, I can play other instruments. I just don't like. It just seems like usually the we don't have to find a drummer and this works out really well thing is the
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
is the route to take. I think so.
So in starting in 2020, what like what time of that year was it started?
Oh, that was like straight up pandemic. That
Yeah.
was right before the pandemic,
Yeah.
I think.
Mhm.
Because we didn't. Did we release? I think we started recording at the end of 2020, just about. 'Cause-
Something like that. I
'Cause
don't
that's-
remember. When was the pandemic? Was it early that year?
It started in March.
March 2020.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I had literally dropped an album with my last band, Ghost Pilots. We dropped it on my birthday.
Ghost Pilots?
Yeah, it was in Ghost Pilots. Yeah. We'll get to that later, I guess, if you want to. So we had dropped that album on my birthday, which is technically tomorrow, March 10th.
Oh,
and then literally a week later was when the shutdowns happened. So we were all super psyched and everything. It's like, yeah, we got an album out, we got momentum, let's start getting shows booked and everything. Done.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, fuck.
Right. Yeah, because I remember too, like, we even had, like, masks in our merch and
Yeah,
shit.
well, we had we were selling masks too. But I remember even in recording at Black Oil, we still had to be like real careful too about all that when everybody was still kind of like, I guess this was like post quarantining, but we had to be
still we were still wearing masks around.
Yeah.
Like precautions, stuff like it was
Yeah.
it was a weird time, man. Like
It was,
trying to
it
get
was.
anything to
Weird.
Okay, so it goes through that, and then now it's member changes, and like there's something. It feels like it's something new now. Like are you continuing the same vision, or are you looking at like building something completely new now?
Oh, it's definitely molded in. I think with Nick being here and
Yeah.
Alexis being here, it's turned into like, we definitely moved it. I remember before Alexis was here, me and Nick had already kind of been developing ideas to kind of move it into like a more progressive, almost would you say, kind of thing, and a little bit further from that kind of original metalcore style that we were in prior to with Cortland and everybody. But yeah, it's definitely developed into something I'd say substantially different. So
Yeah, speaking on my end, like when I first came in to join y'all, because I think the way that I had come in, I had been out of a band for about maybe a year at that point in time, and I was like, I just feel like doing something new, and I hadn't really done any heavy projects up until that point, but I had been listening to all sorts of heavy stuff since I was a kid. I was like, I just kind of want to see if I can do that sort of style. So I just put a couple of videos out there of like, hey, this is what I can do if anybody's interested. And then they hit me up, and I was listening to that, and I was like, okay, I really dig that, like, that, not generic, but like kind of that more standard style of metalcore, like that early or that late 2000s metalcore style. And I was like, I dig that. I think we can expand upon it a little bit, take it in a different direction, while still keeping some of those core elements there that make it what it is, but expanding it for new generation. And also I like to do a bunch of wheedly deedly bullshit on the guitar. So it really kind of just fit in there. I was like, all right, y'all take care of the chuggy chugs and the breakdowns and stuff. I'll throw in whatever I do, and we'll make something that sounds good.
Yeah.
And
it worked.
And it worked.
Yeah.
I think funny enough though is even Shane I think was the one that like saw your video and was like, you should hit up this guy, and that was like after.
Yeah.
I think
that was,
so
like, after
too.
he
Yeah,
left.
because it was him, and then Cortland hit me up, and it was funny because he had hit me up 10 years prior to be in a band, because I think we went to the same high school together. I kind of knew him back in the day, and then he was like, I'm hitting you up 10 years later after originally requesting you to join a band, to join another band. And I was like, all right.
I love that.
And I think the first thing I told him, I was like, actually, dude, you're kind of smothering me a little bit. This like 10 years, it's just a bit much. We
Need
can
a
push
little more
back a
time.
little bit. Yeah, right?
I give you some space.
No, but once we got in here, and then especially once we brought Alexis in here, it kind of came into its own pretty organically. You came in and just hit the ground running. You're like, I got vocals down and ready to go, just building off of the things that we had already had and continuing to keep that pushing forward.
Kind of,
yeah.
sort of.
And
Funny story.
that was like right after like us being like dormant almost for like
We took a bit of a break.
a hot minute. Well,
Yeah.
trying to find a vocalist too, and then sitting there being like, man, losing members and this and that and changing, and you and I just like writing and being like, all right, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? It's like, I think it was good that it like paced as quickly.
So the way I came in was actually kind of funny. It's kind of a funny story if you ask me. Just because so what happened was I went and did my first cover ever with Clay, who is part of Black Oil, which we produce with now. And I love Clay.
Shout out Clay.
Yeah, shout out
Gotta
Clay.
love Clay.
Clay and Cody, God.
Black Oil, yeah.
Boys.
So I went and did a cover with him, and I was like, look, I don't think this is going to be any good. I don't know what to expect from this. This is an experiment for me and whatever. And so we went in, and he was just like, dude, you're so easy to work with. And I was like, well, I'm not an idiot. And then at the end, he was like, you should do something with this. And I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I taught myself how to do these vocals like 3 months ago. I know this one song. I don't know what you want from me.
Wow.
So that was literally like I did my little audition for them like in person, and I sent them that one video, and I was like, "This is literally all I have. So please take it or don't." I don't care. And they left me hanging for like a month and a half. I sent them one of those Joe Biden memes at one point where he's like, "I am once again asking you," and I was like,
It's Bernie Sanders.
"Yeah,
Bernie.
whatever." And I was like, "I am once again asking if you have found a vocalist yet."
I think at the time we had somebody else that was like kind of talking with us, but like we were just like, I don't know.
That and we had like 2 more auditions.
Yeah, and we were just
They
like, and we never heard back from either one
See,
of
I
them.
thought y'all were
don't
fucking
think.
with me, and y'all didn't have
No,
anything at all.
No, yeah, we were bluffing. We
I didn't think
never
y'all had
anybody.
anything.
We didn't even have
Just
songs.
because-
We're not actually a band.
I learned guitar about.
But
10
now that
minutes
you're here,
before
we'd
that
like to
thing.
talk to you about your car's extended warranty.
Well, I found y'all had made a post in the DFW local support group that was like 6 months old at the time, so I was like, they're fucking around or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they're not.
Yeah, I know.
But-
That post literally sat there for like 4 months
Yeah.
with no traction. It was like, okay.
And then
you
we
know.
had a few people, and we had like a few people hit us up that it would have worked, but they were already in other projects, and we were trying to kind of.
Oh, I was a
avoid
virgin.
that
This is my first
'cause
band.
That's
You can go.
what happened in the beginning. Oh, sorry.
You
Yeah.
can
Hello.
do it, yeah, if it's easier.
No, that's okay. So yeah, like we were trying to avoid picking up people that were already in other projects because losing Shane was, like, because he wanted to go do synths and everything. So we really didn't want to have to look for people again. So there were a few like really promising people, but they were like, "Yeah, I'm already in 3 or 4 things," and I was like,
That's pretty hard, especially like if you really want to do something. Like I need somebody to be in it. You know, what I mean?
Yeah,
And if they're in
right.
like do it, it's very hard to balance that, and dates conflict on stuff, or just like monetarily, like what are you investing your money into?
Right.
Everything
It's,
is
Yeah.
it's one of the hardest parts about being in a band looking for band members these days is like everybody for the most
Doing
part
something,
is
yeah.
doing something, which
Yeah.
like kudos to them. You got to hustle
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
make your name for yourself a little bit, but man, it makes it really difficult to find people who can
Yeah.
stick long term.
You
Also
get-
just dynamic, man. Like figuring
Yeah.
out like
Mhm.
who's actually gonna like not only like sound good like on a track, because like I've seen that where people get like auditions, and I always wonder like when bands do like public auditions, and then I see a few, I'm like, these are really good, but it's also finding out like, oh, are they gonna actually like be able to
Yeah.
write together, hang out together, like be
Right.
comfortable, you know what I mean? Like
You
it's
gotta
I can't
vibe-
hang out with
you gotta
any of
vibe
them.
with the
no,
person.
No.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
me and Curtis,
You're too
were-
short
on
to
it.
get into the
We just kind of
establishments.
at each other.
well, me and Curtis, like we're able to finish each other's
Cereal.
sandwiches.
Sandwiches.
God.
Well, we just don't hang out because you're not tall enough to get into most of the establishments we hang out.
Okay, y'all live an hour and a half away for no
That-
reason.
That's also true.
Actually,
Well,
we're all so
Yeah,
related.
No.
you live
I
an
think
hour.
you're technically the ones
Yeah,
that- the ones
We
that
live
an hour and a
close
half
together.
away.
They're in Plano. But fucking.
Yeah, we're all in Plano. We're all like
I'm in
10
Bra-
minutes
I'm in
away from each other.
So I drive an hour and a half to go practice every week, and if
I
that's
drive-
not
I drive
dedication,
half an hour.
I don't want to hear y'all.
half an
I think
hour.
it took
I
me,
live in
like-
Princeton.
I live in Allen technically, but it took me like 10 minutes to get to the.
Okay, so y'all form and y'all start working together. You said about 8 months ago, so when you joined, so that's when everybody
Yep.
really
Yeah.
starts working together.
Roughly, yep.
I guess I just want to talk like the first single that's out is like really good. Like honestly, like I was hearing like about dropping coming out like and hearing stuff like, well, they were working on stuff before, but I knew you joined. And I'm like, what's this gonna sound like? And the only thing I had to go off was like the one video that I was seeing.
Yeah.
Like, this is all I have. But it's very well written. Like it's really good. And even like you coming into, was that something that was previously written and you just hopped onto that?
Yeah, Carrie and I had
Yeah.
kind of worked it out as like just guitar and drums for the first like maybe about a year or so before.
Yeah, we like pretty much like composed the track.
And it was
musically.
something like when I came in, we were still technically doing a lot of the old With Hope and Tax songs, like for practices and for shows. But the second I joined in, I had started writing new material just to have in the background. I was like, eventually, I would like to start bringing some of this stuff in.
Right.
So I just like, I mean, I sit around at my house all day and fuck around and just like come up with new stuff. Sometimes when I'm working too, 'cause on the days that I'm working from home. So those are
feel
some of
that.
the more productive days. But God, I hope my work's not going to see this.
Leave it out.
And then yeah, so when I had that, and then we started kind of figuring it out together, and then we went and recorded that one and the other song, which we'll get to in a little bit, which we'll be hopefully dropping that in the very
Yeah.
near future. But we had those done for, I would say, maybe about 8 months or so, tracked out, and we were just kind of waiting for a vocalist to come in and somebody that we could actually work well with. And then we figured, hey, just write that out, finish out like the synth production and everything like that, and good to go.
Yeah, I think like the plan was like, because we essentially had that one where we're like, well, once we get like a new vocalist and we'll kind of like put him into the old stuff, and then kind of get to the point where that one's all done, and we can just be like, okay, let's see how you can do writing on this like whole brand new track, and you know, kind of get it to where it is now and stuff. So
Yeah, and that's what I was wondering about, because the track feels so I don't know, it's very there's just, it doesn't feel clunky, I guess, if that makes sense. Especially with like the band just forming, you just joining it, and then dropping something really soon.
Right.
It felt like a really natural like transition for you into the band. Did you feel that when you were like starting to write for them, or was it a little difficult?
Honestly, so like this is all brand new to me. This is my first band. This is my first like I've been in the music industry doing like photo stuff and whatever, but this is my first time like writing, putting my own voice on something, you know, getting my own self out there. And so the writing in the beginning, I had a bunch of stuff written because I write, you know, poetry and stuff. So a lot of that was easily converted into like, you know, songs and whatnot. But like in the beginning, it was kind of daunting. It was a little intimidating. It was a little bit like, these guys are gonna think I'm fucking wacko. A lot of my shit's very angry. Like, I'm 4'11", I'm close to hell. I gotta get it out somehow.
Shorter the lead singer, the better the music. It's been scientifically proven.
So it was a little daunting at first, but I think after the Jester came out, I was like, fuck it, we ball.
Yeah.
Like, this is it. This is what y'all are getting. Y'all signed up for
it's
it.
like
So
it's like we had a concept and we just had to get it out there to show like,
Yeah.
is this proof of concept going to work?
Right.
And if it does, then hey, we're golden now. We can just kind of keep going down this path, and we know that it's going to be something that people can enjoy.
Yeah.
it's been received pretty well, I believe. So
From what I can see, yeah.
it's a good path to go down, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's interesting, because you're right. Yeah, this is your first like project creatively in that,
Well,
and
maybe.
then being so like again being wary of like who you're bringing into it. How confident were you into like bringing someone who this is like their first project into it? Since I mean y'all are like very, you know, experienced playing with other bands and stuff like that and writing before.
Honestly, like, you wouldn't really have known it. Like, had she not told us, we wouldn't have known it. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, she's got a good feel for the business side. She's not afraid to audition in front of people she doesn't know. You would have no idea.
Well, I mean, I look at it in the way of like when I came into Ghost Pilots, what was that, like 2016, 2017? It was a different band back then. Shut up. It molded into the Ghost Pilots that it became after that. But when I got into that, I had never been in any serious bands. Like, I had been playing guitar for several years. Actually, I was a drummer before that. But I came into that project never having worked with a group of strangers in music. And so I kind of had to feel my way through it. But I was thankful that I had somebody take a chance on me. And I said, I want to make the most of the chance that I was given. So when I found out that it was your first band too, I was like, you know what? That feels a lot like how I felt back in 2016. I wasn't paying attention. Shut up. That's a lot like how I felt back in 2016, 2017. So, you know, I appreciate people who come in like that, because it's like, you don't have any expectations. You don't have any preconceived notions of what the industry is, or, you know, what being in a project is like. So it becomes more natural in a way. It's like it's what works for you, what works for the group, and there's not really any ego involved in that. And it's like
you.
I mean, I'm great.
Just kidding.
So, like, you know, I'm going to have a little bit. Just kidding. But no, it's been great so far. And I mean, couldn't have asked for a better transition.
That's really cool. With that song dropping, and, you know, with the reception it's been getting, I'm assuming, like, have planned to move forward. Like, is there anything already tracked, ready to go? Or are you, like, taking it a little bit, like, as of...
Oh, no, we
As it comes.
have stuff
I'll
coming.
let other people speak.
We're sitting on quite a bit of material, honestly. I guess technically for what we're gonna release, we have one.
We got one that
We do
we're
have one
shooting
of
a
the
video
projects,
for next weekend, actually. So that's going to be a good old time.
That's
and
gonna be
then,
really fun.
Have we decided when we're going to release it?
No, we were doing the video first.
yes, we're getting the
Shout out
logis-
David Parada, by the way, for a
Yeah.
video.
Yes. no, we're getting the logistics of that figured out, but we will be having our first show
right
with
now.
this iteration of the band in early May. So we're shooting for
that's
run show. So we'll be shooting for a release at least
Between that.
mid-April, I would assume. So that way people have time to kind of digest another new material. On 420?
Why not?
I think I've actually released songs on 420 before, so
It's a few weeks
staple.
before.
I like to
That's a
I
few
like
weeks
to,
before.
pick, I like to pick celebratory days to release music. That way, when they come back around the next year, it's like, oh hey, I did that too. It's a little cherry on top.
Kind of what we did with the Jester inadvertently, but y'all wouldn't know that.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Wait, when was the Jester release?
1-5 was a personal celebration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what with the strategy of like releasing and stuff, do you guys like actually like are you really looking at that like whether going through like singles or preparing to like release like something like an EP or something like that, or right now is it really just like let's put out stuff that we're creating?
I think right now it's mostly been singles, but I think we've been real back and forth on the EP thing, and I
Yeah.
think that may be something in the near future. But yeah, I think right now it's definitely been mostly singles and trying
I
to.
think we planned on doing 2 or 3 singles, and then we were gonna do like a 3-song EP or something like that.
But who knows?
That's what we were talking about. Yeah, because we sure the hell don't.
How do you guys feel about like that, about having like a whole like release plan, and like people who are, there's a lot of artists that now only like are doing like a bunch of singles and aren't doing like full projects anymore?
I was gonna say, I mean, content-wise, it gives you the ability to stretch out, like the what people are receiving over a longer period of time, because there's something to be said about the build up to a hype of an album, like an EP or a full album. It's like you feel so psyched as a band, and I think even as like if you're a fan of the band, like you're really psyched to have a whole album. But then once that hits, then the the reception of it is great. And then 2 months later, people are moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the way the industry is nowadays. And you kind of have to work around it. And you see people coming up with new strategies all the time.
Especially like now in the age of social media, where we just constantly have like a stream of like dopamine and serotonin and whatever. Like we're just
Mayonnaise.
constant.
Mayonnaise.
We're just constantly getting fed something new all the time. So like trying to keep up with that's it's tough. But I feel like, having a constant stream of something a little fresh is helpful, whether it be single EP or single EP. Just having something new.
Having a constant.
And that also
stream
goes
is
back
very
into content,
important.
too.
Yeah, having a constant stream.
Having a constant.
Should see your-
healthy
If not, you
See
should
a
see your
doctor
doctor.
if you don't.
Don't have a
Important.
constant stream of content. No, yeah, that is like a talk I have a lot, and I think about with like bands and like especially now how like content is like being like pushed, like what can
It's
you
so tough.
out of one thing you have to be able to make so many like different
Yeah.
pieces of content out of it. And the thing is, there's a lot of people like coming up with ideas of doing like, oh, they have breakdowns with like their rig breakdowns or like instrumental like playthroughs and just like there's like so much stuff we're explaining like what this song is about, like there's like stuff you can do. I think the biggest I guess shortcut or thing like that I found is just figuring out stuff that like I would like to see and
Right.
just trying to put that out, because like once you start putting out like just think because it's trendy, you realize that like, oh, I'm not having fun with it.
Yeah.
I think
It feels less authentic.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
and so I think it's one of the biggest things that I notice now in bands is like how genuine like they actually are to themselves and
Right.
what feels like it's not real,
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I feel like the audience wants that.
You
yeah.
see bands that have very similar sounds, like musically, but then really different approaches to how they do social media and how they feed their content to the people. And there's no one style that works better than another. It's just like you said, it's whatever your flavor is. As long as it feels authentic to you, then it comes across as authentic to the fan base. And I think that's what keeps people around for longer
Yeah.
periods of time.
I mean,
Right.
we may do a cappella versions of our tracks,
Straight
Good
up.
luck.
I would honestly, I'd be so down for that. Actually,
Wait, y'all want me to do that? No, I'm not doing that.
Carrie will just beatbox his drum parts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Your life, that'd be fucking entertaining. See, that's the thing.
And then
That
we're
would
just
be
like
really funny.
for our guitars and the bass, and then you just
And then I'm just sitting over here sounding like the Seinfeld
God.
soundtrack.
I would say the Seinfeld
See, it's already working. You're welcome.
So now we have to.
Now you
Now
have
you
to,
have
yeah.
to.
Now it's gonna come out. But
420.
Right after the Christmas album.
That's,
Oh my
that's
God.
the one that should come out on 420. That would make sense.
God.
Psych, y'all thought you were getting new music today.
It's the new song, but it's just an a cappella version of nonsense.
And it's a Christmas album.
Wasn't it like
hoping
way
Christmas.
back in the day? Didn't Polyphia do something like that? Like for an April Fool's joke? I think this was like 10, 15 years ago at least, where they
We were,
said they
like,
were putting
20.
out a new song on April 1st, and it just came out, and it was literally just them doing like a cappella fucking around on a track for 4 minutes straight. And I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It
So
works, though.
You
You don't
guys-
remember it.
I
You
think-
guys
yeah.
remember when U2 put out that song that like Apple like automatically downloaded to
Oh, it was a whole
everybody's
album.
Oh, the
library?
YouTube?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was a whole freaking album. I was
Yeah,
like,
that was the thing. You felt super violated.
I was like,
You're
what? I was freaking the fuck out because I'm like, how?
Right, you
What just happened? Like, where was my
Yeah.
phone? Like,
yeah,
who,
we're all like
I was
thinking
I'm
our shit got hacked and everyone.
But then
like,
I was wondering, like, why hack and add YouTube to my?
yeah.
You have your
It's
like
the worst
friends-
hack ever.
That was the
I remember
most-
that.
Yeah,
That
that
was,
Stop trying to
random.
make YouTube happen.
that was like the first time I had ever had an iPhone too, and I was like, this is terrible. What is this?
You got your friends in the car, it pops on, you're like, oh shit, I'm sorry
Put the
guys.
shuffle.
My bad, my bad.
Still on here?
Just like the most random prank.
That was
ever.
awful.
Yeah, I was. I remember I was
What a
completely
time to be
freaking
alive.
out.
That should not have been legal.
Oh god, yeah.
But it
yeah,
worked.
it's With,
Right.
It worked. We're talking about it.
It's true.
Yeah,
It
like
works.
years later.
Maybe we should do that.
It helps when you're a well-established band of already at least a decade or two. But
Yeah,
you
because
know,
if I
you
just
wanna go
airdropped all of my shit to
non-consensually-
everyone, to everybody on the fucking planet, somebody'd be pretty pissed off about it.
Immediately go online and be like, who the fuck is
But hey, look at all these streaming numbers. We're doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
That's the
works.
secret. You get millions of streams by just violating people's playlists.
But yeah, like the go back to the album thing, like in well established bands, I think are the only ones that can really just drop a project
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
have some remote success like with it. But everybody else, like who's grinding for like how to stay relevant, how to keep like people remembering who put out the stuff. Singles, I think works, you know, and then you can stretch out, you know, a single with content and stuff for like a couple months or even 3 months, and then
Yeah.
release 4 songs in a year, but your name is out all year, you know?
Right.
It's, it's trial and error and it's timing.
Yeah.
Especially with social media. It's like timing is, I mean, even down to like what time of day you post. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been
it's all
hit or miss on that. Like
Yeah.
I look
I
at
know,
all like the
it's- yeah, no,
suggestions, and
it's
I'm like, none of them ever is fun.
you look at
It's
like,
hard to figure out. It is.
Yeah, you look at like what statistically is the best time of day to do it, and then you throw something out there because you're like, yeah, that's going to be great, and then it gets nothing,
Yeah.
and then you put something randomly out at like 10 p.m., and then all of a sudden that's successful when you wake up the next day. You're like, so it's all none of it
So
really
it's all a
matters.
lie.
Yeah, it's
Right.
all a lie.
And then
Yeah.
Literally, the only thing
It's tough.
is consistency. It's like
Right.
you just
Yeah.
put out a bunch of stuff. Because then I've had stuff like that's super old just start like getting
Yeah.
Yeah.
views and likes. And I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, how did people find this? But
Right.
like that's why I've just been trying to like, just put out as much stuff as you can, and so one of them will like hit. I
Yeah.
guess, you know.
That's
And then,
kind of like the TikTok algorithm. Like with TikTok, you have to post 4 or 5 times a day.
That's the other
One of
thing,
those is gonna
too.
catch
Yeah,
eventually.
the freaking algorithm, like just trying to like figure out how to beat the algorithms is like another 30% of the battle.
that's where like I start like if when I try to tackle like posting a content or something like that and start realizing how many like because we haven't even like launched a TikTok yet because I'm so fucking nervous about it.
Kinds of
Daunting
like-
app.
Yeah, because I'm
honestly.
like, because that thing that you need to post like this many times a day
Yeah.
for something to hit, and I'm like, I got to think about that. And then TikTok has stories, and you think about like going live on all these apps, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, which one? Like,
better start
I
learning
gotta
some dances.
Right. Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
gosh. I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, and I've thought about like different ideas. Like, what can I do if I go live? I'm like, I'm not ever doing anything. Like,
Right.
You could do like
where
a
I'm,
cooking show.
a cooking show. Like, burn.
I
all
used
my
to do
shit.
like edit with me, like on my photo one. I
Mm.
would do like this is like edit breakdowns, and I would only do them live because I'm not a gatekeeper, but I'm also not trying to have that out there for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
But it was fun, and it
I
was
like
related
that, yeah.
to what I was doing, and there were people that would pop in, and ultimately it just ended up being like us bullshitting, whatever, just talking back and forth.
Which works. Like people
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
streaming has like gotten so like popular.
Yeah.
And there's so many people that just stream for like hours and hours throughout the day, and that's a
Crazy.
job.
They
I don't
must
have
not
that
have
sort
kids.
of yeah.
Yeah,
I don't have that mental energy.
Yeah.
Like after about an hour, I'd be like, I don't really want to talk to y'all anymore.
I just gotta try to pay rent during the day.
Yeah, but like that's another thing I think more people outside of like the scene don't really look at is like the monetary aspect of like a band. And like when I think of like, oh, you're playing a show and it's like, oh, it's easy, you just show up and play. I'm like, dude, like it takes so much. Like when I was in a band, it's like, oh, even like taking time off of work just to play a show that like I'm not gonna get paid at or not paid or whatever.
Right.
Or you know, like all the equipment it takes for you to sound the way you like all that stuff. Like nobody really like pays attention until you like talk to them about it. But it's such a huge responsibility. So when you were saying before about finding somebody who's like doesn't have other commitments like in the band, that makes perfect sense, because like if you need to stretch that budget amongst everything, like it's crazy, because like I don't even know, like without like going into like specific detail, but like the music video you shot, I'm sure that was like pretty.
Well, so that one
that was actually not too bad. That was pretty
that one I kept it on the lower end of, you know, what we were spending for a reason. One, we were all just getting acquainted with each other and like how we worked, and also like I wasn't trying to spend a whole bunch of money right off the bat.
Yeah.
So that video, I came up with like the concept of it pretty much, and then I literally set my camera on a tripod, and I had my friend Brian Bradley, shout out Brian. I had him come in and pretty much be my eyes on the camera. He kind of co-directed. Yeah. And all he wanted afterwards was dinner. So like the cost of dinner, and the venue rental for like $100, we got our video done.
Wow.
What did you eat?
IHOP. We IHOP and cried. It's our tradition.
Oh. I sat in the background.
I'm a Denny's guy.
IHOP and cry. No, I sat in the background of that whole music video the whole time, just kind of like
you kind of lurked around like But that video, it was only me, and we did 2 separate takes where like I was on one side doing the cleans with the blue light, and then the angry side. So it was like it was just me. And that was it.
I was there to offer
and I edited, so
support.
like editing was
that's pretty cool.
That's another benefit, that you have the ability to edit, and you've got people in in your collective and everything like that who are great with photography and with videography and everything like that. It's a nice benefit.
It is very handy.
But I feel like we're focusing on the wrong thing here. What did you eat at IHOP?
What did I eat? I think that time.
You need to answer the real question.
That time, funny face pancake.
No,
let's get into the nitty gritty.
I had the chocolate chip pancakes with like bacon, eggs, and like the whole thing.
You know, IHOP.
That sounds like it.
Y'all want to go to IHOP after this?
IHOP doesn't have corned beef hash.
I think they do.
No, not anymore.
No,
I went with my dad not too long ago, and he was flabbergasted.
This is the most boomer thing I've ever heard you say.
He was flabbergasted.
The most
he didn't know
boomer
what to
thing
do.
I've heard.
I guess I'll have an omelet.
Yeah, our Asian dad was super mad that they didn't have the corned beef hash.
I like how you just specify our Asian dad.
It's something that people need to understand why he likes corned beef hash and Spam so much.
Yeah, I like Spam, but
he also drinks Heineken. Everyone's gonna get it.
Everyone's gonna get it.
You know who you are.
Now, I've been pissed at IHOP ever since one time I fucking asked them. I always order the same thing, and it was like cheese on top of the eggs, which is obviously the fucking shredded cheese.
Right.
And some fucking lady, like literally
they put a craft single on there.
Melted. It was still in the square
slap
shape.
that bitch down on top of it.
And I'm like,
I would be irate.
It was like, I don't know what time. I think we had just played. I think it was when I was playing, so I just played a show, so I was tired, and I'm just like, what the fuck, man? Like, let's like I think I
don't take the plastic off it. She just like
I wouldn't doubt it, man.
I think I got you beat. I found a piece of coffee mug in my pancake one time.
Oh, that's why
a coffee mug. Yeah, it's like just put it in my mouth, and all of a sudden, like that feels like glass or whatever the fuck coffee cups are made out of.
I used to work at an IHOP. It probably came out like in a dishwasher.
That's why
because I was a young child and didn't really have the ability to sue people yet.
Oh man,
that's why I go to Denny's.
Sad forward, like I'm gonna pay my rent forever.
See, if I had been that progressively thinking at like 10 years old, then I could have set myself up for my 20s.
Right, that shit.
Right now,
that shit never happens. It never happens to you as an adult. It's always like shit happened to you as a kid.
You just let go as a
dude,
kid.
I could have been a fucking millionaire.
IHOP's gonna fund this whole album.
They just don't know it yet.
Oh my fucking god. Anyways.
I'll call my law school dropout cousin. We'll get this handled.
I've got one of those.
We all do.
Does he specialize in bird law?
I shit you not. It's like my cousin Vinny, dude. Everybody's got one. That cousin that like didn't quite
didn't quite make it. Mine was a cosmetologist, I think.
Yeah, I've got none
I got
of
a
that.
cousin. Yeah, we've all got one of
What do
them.
you got, Nick? What, you
I don't know.
special
I think-
cousins or
What do you
anything?
bring to the table?
What
I
is
think
your
I'm the
cousin
black
do?
sheep of the family.
Oh, you are the
actually,
weird
so-
cousin.
Oh, you're the you're the dropout.
Yeah. No, it's not that bad. Please.
But yeah, no, shout out Denny's, because
What the fuck is
I
up,
do
Denny's?
like some
What the fuck is
Denny's.
up, dude?
What the fuck is up, Denny's?
Just saw that Blink. Was it Blink that played a show at Denny's? Mm-hmm. I thought that was so
Was it?
fucking
That
cool.
was-
Oh yeah, they did. That was like a pretty recent thing.
Yeah.
That was pretty recent.
Yeah.
That
They
happened
they
last
got
year.
in the hot water because they like ripped off the shirt and stuff. They like I don't know. They got in
They
big
ripped
trouble.
off the shirt.
But
Yeah,
the
they
Denny's-
had they had like
Like the
a
design of the
Like
shirt,
the original
not
band that
their,
was in
like,
that meme.
Superman.
Oh.
they like ripped it off or whatever. Like it
Oh.
was bad. It was
Pay
a
that
lot of
shit.
hot water, social media.
That's fine.
It's very, very hard to navigate all this shit. I just like I don't know. Like I try like I went through a period of time where like every like band that I like some shit was coming out about. I was like, I'm just not gonna fucking follow anybody anymore.
Canceled.
I just I follow bands and I'm like, okay, but like individuals, like I've just stopped doing that. Like from bands, I'm just like, I'm just not gonna. I'm gonna start just treating people like people instead of like, oh, this is like a
Yeah.
famous person, they can do anything. Because then my mentality started going there, and
Yeah.
I hated that, and I'm just like, oh, I don't like that. That I'm justifying shit because of their celebrity, and I'm just like,
It's
no,
like-
fuck this. Like they're just fucking.
Anybody who I've ever met that has had some level of success in the music, like they're all just regular people. They want to be treated for the most part like regular people. That's how I would want to be treated
Most
too.
of them.
So it's like treat
Most.
people how
Most of
them.
most. There are some, but it's like treat people how you would want to be treated. Like I don't want to be treated like I'm some big deal. I'm just a regular dude.
I do.
It's like
Thanks, Dad.
I'm just kidding.
Thanks, Dad.
I just want somebody to say they're proud of me once.
I'll keep
Oh.
looking, bud.
all right, here you go. Ready? Work harder.
I hope
be
for, for a second. With
Dang.
hope is no longer intact.
No hope, no hope in town.
No,
No,
intact.
I had a no. Okay, but I mean, the band is. I'm just excited. I really want to hear new music. Like I said, after that song drop, I really was interested in where like the trajectory of like the new music is going to. But it's cool that
nasty.
you're working on stuff.
It's nasty.
So I would say
It's gonna be
yeah,
straight fire
Disgusting.
emoji.
straight fire emojis.
Disgusting.
No, so for the things that I've been writing lately, because I mean, the first two singles that we've kind of been working through are definitely more in like the style of what the Jester is right now. But I definitely wanted to make it a point of, I don't want to do the same song over and over again. So like definitely want to experiment with some different types of feels while keeping the core style, like the core elements of what we've already put out there still in there. But, change thematic elements of things, kind of make everything sound just a little bit different than everything else, because I think that for me that keeps it interesting for me to write, so I don't get kind of burnt out on, okay, I feel like I have to do this and this and this in a song so that I can keep that formula the same. I've always been down to try new things with music. It's how I got into this project in the first place.
How does writing work like right now with the band? Like does someone just bring an idea forth or?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is most like me and Nick will kind of bounce ideas off. He'll usually come in with like something pretty written out in his head, and then me and him will
Immediately.
go into the studio and just like bounce ideas off and try to kind of mold it into something and structure it out and everything, and then we'll kind of like give it to everybody else and let them kind of mold in their ideas as well. So
Yeah, it's like we put together the assignment, and sometimes it doesn't always work this way, but it's like we put together the assignment sometimes, and it's like, all right, here's your homework. Let's write some things for this.
okay.
Yeah.
And it's like I want to have everybody have their creative freedom to do what they want in there, and then just kind of provide the base skeleton, because like I said, I write a bunch of stuff just sitting around all day, so I always have something new to bring to them. And sometimes I'll go and go up to Clay and be like, hey, can we scratch this out? Because I've got some ideas that I need to add like 2 layers of guitars onto, and I don't really know how it's going to sound yet, so let's kind of work that through together. And that kind of just gives me the base point, and then I show it to everybody else, or if they come in with some ideas too, it's like, all right, yeah, let's see what works. Let's just experiment with it, and whatever comes out comes out.
How comfortable are you guys with like being honest about like parts that you like, or maybe like this? I don't think this is working. Like as far as communicating that between each other,
I don't
or is
like
it
any
mostly
of
just
these
one
people.
person?
Yeah, I'd say
It's easy.
for the most part, I think honestly through the writing process, I mean, me and Nick will usually like play together at the studio, so it's usually pretty direct, and we'll be like, well, let's try this, or like I could, play something to like a certain segment of something that he's written, and we could be like, well, let's try this, or let's try it,
Look for a
double
certain
time,
feel,
or
Yeah. And it's like, I think Carrie and I work really well on that because I was a drummer back in the day for several years. So it's like I have at least somewhat in my head of an ear of kind of some of the ideas that I have for when I write things out. It's like, this is what I would do if I was drumming it. So, but then like I'll listen to what he comes up with, and if it sounds better than what I had in my head, I'm like, fuck me, right? You don't need my stuff.
Yeah.
But sometimes if I'm like, let's try it this way and see if it sounds good, and if it does, great. If it doesn't, then just scrap it and move on.
Yeah, I think that's like one of the sometimes like a hurdle that people don't get through, and it causes like them to like never progress and make songs, is like not being able to have that little discourse of just like, hey, let's just try this and be open to it. Because I think early on when it like in music, when I was in music, like I would get really defensive when someone didn't like something I did.
Yeah.
And then I realized like it took a while, but I had to realize like, oh, at the end of the day, like we're all in the same fucking band. Like we're just trying to write an actual
Yeah.
good song. So like just trying stuff, being open to like, okay, we'll try it that way, and then playing it that way, trying it and be like, oh, it didn't work that way, or it did, because
Right.
I had very like vivid instances where I was like, this shit is not gonna work, and I was like talking to my guitar player, and then like they play it and write a whole song, and I'm like, oh, okay, I was fucking wrong.
Right.
Yeah, it takes a lot of like that, swallowing that little bit of ego and be like, okay, let's fucking try something different.
Yeah, I think passing the paintbrush is pretty easy for us. Like, we have pretty good chemistry, like playing together and stuff. So like bouncing the ideas back and forth has been really good. So
Yeah, and nobody's afraid to try something new, and I think at least so far nobody's really had any issues if somebody says, hey, I don't really like the way that sounds, or I think it could sound better a different way. It's like you said, put the ego aside a little bit. Does it hurt my heart a little bit when somebody says they don't like my stuff? Yes. But at the end of the day,
But nobody gets butthurt.
but
Yeah.
nobody's going to get butthurt about it. At the end of the day, it's like, hey, I want to put out the best product, and I'm only one set of ears, and I'm
Right.
probably biased with my own set of ears. So it's always good to have somebody else come in and give you that perspective that you might not be able to see yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now with the with your first show coming up, how has been like rehearsal for like live settings? Are you the only one that hasn't like actually like fronted? Is anything right? Like live, or have you, like,
I technically have not. I've not played my own like show. I played bass for a band out in Vegas. Like I opened up for Combi Christ. That was cool. That was one thing. Back in December, I filled in for a band super last minute at Rubber Gloves, but I don't count those.
yeah.
This is my first show.
It's your first show,
Yeah.
and so have you all like started like live rehearsing now?
We're working into it. We've been building out the set list, just kind of like, because we're still kind of working through a lot of other new songs as well. So there's been kind of instances where we're like, okay, well, are we going to have that ready while we're still building out the other ones? Are we going to have to bring in some older material? Because we do have older material that we can work off of as well. Because it's already, it's finished, it's good, it's done. But we're trying to get it built out to what sounds good, what obviously fills in a full set list time.
Yeah.
And then now that that's kind of been worked through, we're starting to ramp up for that, and it's exciting. It's the closer and closer you get, the more those practices have a little bit more energy to them, and you start
Yeah.
really getting into that feel a little bit, and then
Y'all
you
aren't
start
gonna be
like.
sitting no more.
No, I like to I sit down a lot in practice, but the closer we get to the show, I'm
Yeah,
like,
to
I
figure
should
that
probably
out,
stand
yeah.
up at some point.
they'll be like, they're going to be like full dress rehearsals essentially once we
Yeah.
have this set list like locked down, which
You know,
will be
Carrie should start
very
standing
quick
up
here.
too.
Yeah, I'll be standing up more for sure.
Yeah, that is the one thing. Like when I remember I was playing, like that's one thing I didn't take into account. Like one is how excited you get like when you're on stage, and then two, you have to practice the way you're gonna play that shit live because like I was doing vocals, so like every time like I would kill the first two songs, and then I'm like, I
Wind yourself.
spent it all, like
Yep.
it's gone, like I'm gassed, like it's gone. I'm like, okay, and then figuring out how to ration that, figuring out like with excitement, like we didn't play to like a click like early on until like super late after we recorded an EP, and then realized like after we record every like session, I'm like, we speed so like up so much, because everyone's just fucking pumped
you
to
get
be
that
up there.
adrenaline rush, and then all of a sudden that 130 BPM song is 160, and you're like, fuck, we need to slow down a little bit.
Yeah. But it's fun. I think performing live is like one of the best parts about being in a band because of that. It's that instant gratification and just instant feedback from people listening to it. So like,
seeing it.
If you ever see somebody just like moving around to your song, or like even like once they know a little bit more and singing stuff back, like it's just more like, whoa, it's a weird moment, but it's so fun and exhilarating. You get to see that in real time. Sometimes you can't even see the crowd. Like I would get nervous sometimes, so I'm like, I'm not even looking at anybody. Like I was staring straight at people, but like I knew my eyes were, like
looking right through them.
pretty
No,
much,
I get
like,
that.
You picture them in their underwear.
No, that would make it worse, man.
I tend to avoid. I tend to like avoid eye contact. Like I'll look at their forehead or I'll look at like their chin or something. I'm like, you're not here. I'm just hello.
We're just
Singing in a room right now.
Exactly.
Now, creatively in writing, you said you would write a lot of like poetry and stuff, and that's
Yes.
what you like made it into the songs. What was the Jester the first song you wrote when you came into it? Or
Yes, it was the number one. We hit the ground and I said, this is it. I need to get this off my chest right now.
Yeah,
That's what we
Right
did.
now.
right
now. And so we did.
Versus like doing it in poetry and doing it in like a version like here in song. How does that does it feel a tiny bit more like cathartic being able to put it into something like that, or does
It
poetry give you the same
feels
satisfaction?
so. I have this. Trying to put things in like song structure by myself doesn't really normally work out. So normally how writing works is they'll go scratch it out, and then I'll go to Clay with my written stuff, and I'll be like, hey, can we carve out of this? And so I normally do my writing with Clay. I'll write it, and then I'll go take it in and be like, hey, can we structure this? And I tend to overwrite a lot. I use big words and shit. Silent Planet over here. So I'll have to like shave it down and just kind of form it into what they're writing. Okay. So it's like I do a lot of my writing with Clay. We kind of hammer it out, and he really pushes like me to do a bunch of new like technique stuff and like just outside my boundaries or my little limits and my little lungs. But
zone.
it's been good. It's been worth it, I would say.
So I mean, so you're pretty good at like being able to take feedback from someone who's while you're recording and adjust.
Absolutely. Half the time, Clay will be recording, and I'll be like midline, and he's like, "Nope," and I'm like, "Okay." I was like, "All right, what's wrong with that one?" And he'd be like, "Do it again, but higher," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll try." And it's good. As long as you're not a dickhead about it. You can't just walk in and be like, "Hey, that was fucking ass." Like if some
it's like a stranger,
if some random came into our practice pad and was like, "Hey, that's fucking ass," I'd be like, "Who are you? Get out!"
You suck.
I would just play louder. The same thing, but worse and louder.
But worse.
You just can't be a dickhead about it. Like what they said, treat others how you want to be treated. Like,
yeah. That's one thing. It's funny. Like even like because I would record a lot with DJ when we were like pre-pro stuff. And that was when, like, in the middle of lines, you would just, like, interrupt and be like, nope, do it again. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, whatever, do it again. It's like, well, what's wrong? He's like, this part. Like, just do it better. And then he would describe it. I'm like, okay. And I tried, but it was just, like, the cutoff and just, like, the dry. I'm like, okay, yeah, no. And I'm like, all right.
See, that's another thing is you have to be able to, like, Clay is really good about being able to tell me, like, where I'm fucking up.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes, most of the time, it's me being hard on myself. And, like, I can hear myself crack or I can hear myself, wow, whatever. And normally they're really good about being like, hey, do this again, but like higher, or do this again, but don't cry while you're doing it. Sometimes I'd be sounding like I'm crying, but I'm not.
That adds authenticity to it.
Half of the Jester I cried for.
Oh, no. You gotta put it on it. Translating like your writing. I've only done that, I think, like a few times where it came from like something like it wasn't like a poem, it was just like a stream of consciousness of writing.
Yes.
And just like, oh, like let's take this, and I would go through it.
It feels more authentic that way. It feels like I can get all my thoughts out instead of having just like random one-liners, It's just like, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm going, put that away, and now it's gone. Like,
I liked it because of that, because it would like close that idea for me, because like streams of consciousness, when I would write like that, it would like not be. It wouldn't make sense to anyone but me because
Right.
I was writing it as I was thinking it. So some of the shit don't go because like my brain hops around so fucking much.
Yep.
So I'm
Yep.
just like I don't know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
And then I'll go back and pull like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. Let's do this and then take that and piece it together and then write something and so on. But yeah, I used to always come into like instrumentals. That's the only thing I wish I played an instrument like well. Because I grew up playing guitar and like classical guitar, but I've never learned how to like compose like on something.
Yeah.
And I'm just like I don't know how to write like a song. Like I can write lyrics and then sometimes I can structure stuff, but I always came into like with an instrumental and be like, okay, what can I put over
Right.
this? And then trying to figure out what to write about because I never had like subjects of anything. I would just like listen to these songs.
It also
on
feels
repeat.
like it just kind of balances a lot. Like, if you're familiar with Entheos, like Cheney, she kind of does the same thing where she doesn't want to like overpower the instrumental. They're supposed to like complement each other, you know? And I kind of feel the same way. It's like, I don't want to do too much or too little. I want it to be balanced. Balanced.
Wait, what?
Anyway,
Make them touch.
Like, what do I?
balance.
I got a whole. What do I do with my hands? Make moment.
I want it to be balanced, and that's like I feel like that's the best way of doing it is being able to go to Clay and be like, "Hey, is this ass beat for real with me?" And he'll be like, "Don't do that here."
The importance of having that in your own band and outside,
Yeah.
like people telling you, like legitimately, it's like this is like not good. Like
I think it's very important.
Constructive
super
criticism.
important.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Sometimes
Do
I
not
see
gas
it,
your
yeah.
homies up when they're not doing good. That'll only embarrass them. Please don't do that.
Yeah, like
PSA.
if they're asking you for like that's the one thing I do. Like I don't openly will trash anything, even if I don't think like I like it like
Right.
openly. But if you come and ask me, like,
Yeah.
hey, what is this? Like I'm gonna tell you. I'll either point out stuff that I do like and then be like this other stuff, you know, that or.
Yeah.
But I won't openly bash you just for no reason. But
Right.
if you come and ask me for an opinion, like I need to be as honest as possible because
Right.
that's like I've said this like a few times here. Like I'm like I. Like support all my friends' bands. Like I don't like all of them, and like, and that's
Right.
not a bad thing. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just like, everybody has different tastes and stuff like that. So it's
Right.
cool. Like I'm glad that you're doing it. If you're working, and I'm who am I to say like you're not gonna get better because
Right.
everybody fucking does.
Yeah.
If you try, like if you really try, there's some progress to be made. But yeah, like the value of that because I always laugh. I remember like when I was in a band, I wrote a lyric that still makes me cringe to this day, and I asked my band like, "How did you let that one go? Like, how did that
What
one
was
get
it?
through to you?"
Did
What
you
was it?
rhyme higher and fire?
No, dude, it said, oh, what was it? The term shaking in your boots was in it, and I was just like, and I was screaming this, and I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? And the crazy thing is, actually, like, and killed Lincoln, what's his last name? I can't remember his last name.
Coleman?
Bart?
Yeah,
Son of a
he
bitch.
literally legitimately told me he was gonna get it tattooed on him. I'm like, please.
Lincoln
don't.
told you that?
I was like, please
That's
don't.
so cringe of him.
I was like, no, dude, not that one. Like, because I was excited because he was like, oh, like, what are your lyrics? I'm like, cool. And he pointed down. I'm like,
Not
Don't do that one.
oh, man,
don't do that.
I'm trying to let this one die.
You should have sent him a redacted copy
Please,
of lyrics,
anyone.
just, like with just a little black line.
bars.
If we can go back and get that retouched
like
with
an
some
FBI
dark,
transfer.
dark shading. in here.
Yeah. But yeah, having that definitely helps. And even like people pointing out your pattern, because I didn't even know, like I would when I would write to stuff like melodies and stuff, I would have a set like structure that I would normally do, and melodies like my go-to melodies. And then like when that was pointed out to me, it was like a glass fucking shattering. I was like, oh wait, I do this a lot. And then my friend was like, oh, you do this here, here, and here. And I'm like, oh, fuck, here I am thinking I'm like
dude,
creative, like a fucking creative.
I am my
person.
own
I'm
worst
just like, oh,
critic
shit.
on that because like I'll write something new and then I'll like finish it after maybe in like a week of working on it, and then I sit there, I'm like,
That sounds
I did that
just
exact same thing in that song
Yep.
and that exact same
Like
thing
there's a
in
reason
that
it was
song.
so
It's like,
easy. Like,
damn it.
Well, I
It's
mean,
like-
you can go through like lots of bands, like albums, and be like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah,
there's
for
that
sure.
vocal line again, like
Hell yeah.
same melody and
Absolutely.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just have to find that line between like thematic and like just overdoing your own shit. You know?
yeah, and I, which is why like I think early on I would always be upset when a band didn't sound like the way it sounded on the last record or whatever. And then the more like, you know, becoming a musician and just like talking to more people and being like, oh, dude, like you want to write interesting shit to you. Like you're not going to be
Yeah.
able to write the same song over and over and have fun with it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, nobody wants to put out like the same album 3 times or whatever.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
fucking boring.
some people do
Some
just
people do, yeah.
because
See,
like
yeah,
they
that's-
know it works for
For a
them and they
check,
know
yeah,
they can
like,
write it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right,
like
it's
working.
working.
It's like, hey, if
Exactly.
we have a contract that we got to bust out another album in the next 6 months, like, hey, I can put together 10 songs that sound exactly the same,
Yeah.
and we can get that recorded and put out in the next 6 months. It's
Yeah.
easier. It's still not like writing music is never the easiest thing in the world, but it's easier.
But then you realize like why like so many like bands have like side projects that branch off when they have like commercial success with something,
Yes.
and then they just do like, okay, I want to do like something down here where I can do whatever I want, you know? 'cause,
Greg Puciato is my favorite example of that.
Who?
Ex Dillinger Escape Plan.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
But now he's in like the Black Queen, which is like an industrial, like sexy feel good thing, and then he's got Better,
Better
Lovers,
Lovers is-
and then he's got his
Better
own
Lovers
Greg
rocks.
Puciato thing, and it's like they're all just so vastly different.
Yeah, because you realize as a musician you want to create so many different things, and they don't always fit under the same umbrella. Like
Yeah.
you know, so you, being in different like types of bands, like you know, talking about going from like something from like well, you were in your band before, and then coming into
Yeah.
something like this, it still like scratches that creative itch. It's just in a different way.
Absolutely. No, I mean, like with Ghost Pilots and everything, that was because I was really big.
I didn't say anything. That was Curtis.
Sorry.
Oh,
What
No,
happened?
I didn't hear it.
I'm an
It's
idiot.
okay. Just move on.
going.
Let's keep going.
Fair enough. I was gonna say like with the old band, it's like I was listening to a lot of stuff like Dance Gavin Dance and all that good stuff at that period in time, and that was the kind of stuff that interested me. But once that was done, it was like I want to try something different with some of the other stuff that I've been listening to my whole life. So, yeah, like you said, it's the next thing that scratches the itch. And now even like today, I'm like writing stuff. It's like maybe I want to take it a little bit more simplistic in the approach because that's interesting to me right now. It's like figuring out how to not put so much wheedly deedly bullshit into a song.
pulling back, yeah,
Yeah, pulling back a little bit is actually a lot more difficult than I ever imagined it would be.
Yeah.
make it good. Yeah,
Yeah, making it
simple and
good.
good is a task in itself, and it's. I call myself so much out as an adult because I used to fucking hate anything that sounded simple or like I used to be a big pop music hater, and I'm like, I don't know why. Like it's catchy for a reason. Like
Right.
it's there's a reason, there's a structure to it. So learning just to, no, I don't have to like everything, but I like learning to appreciate like there is a skill in that because
Yeah.
like I'd be like, oh well, that's really easy, but like how to figure out how to make something simple that's gonna get stuck in like people's heads and like also like make it good. Like if you can make
Right.
simple songs all day, but which one's gonna stick? You know, it takes a lot like of hard work, but. And like I said, when you see those like giant pop stars that got like a shit ton of writers, like, oh, it's because they know their structure and what
Right.
it's like.
Yeah.
So they know that their song is gonna hit in the way they need it to hit. Like it's a goddamn formula at that point for them.
Right.
Well, even like me and Curtis, we used to be in like 80s hair metal bands and like power metal bands.
Yeah.
And then like
What?
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, like our-
actually, they were
our-
talking about their hair metal band on the way up.
Yeah.
Our first band when we were teenagers was a sleaze band.
Yeah, and then like so.
I don't believe it. I need photo proof.
Yeah, no, we all had
I
like
need to see the hair.
Our hair looked like yours. It was like actually.
Oh my god.
I don't
Yeah.
know
I
if
need
I
photo
don't know
proof.
if I have any pictures of
Oh
it
my
either,
God, this is the
but
first
I
time
But
I'm
yeah, I
hearing
mean,
this.
we've played in
I
like
feel pretty
all
left out
kinds
right
of
now.
genres now, like from the time that we were young up into like what this is, which is crazy because it's like we've dabbled in so much that like this is just like another part of like our musical growth too. So I think that that's one thing
We
that
look
like
at it
people
that
need
way.
to understand is
Yeah.
like, you know, that's why nobody wants to like keep writing the same stuff or they want to do side projects that are different stuff. It's all just about like, you know, individual like growth in music and stuff like that.
Polyjamorous.
Polyjamorous.
I was gonna
Polyjamorous.
say Curtis and Carey Country album 2025.
Ooh, get ready, acapella country album.
I need a kazoo in there at some point in time.
But yeah, like so. I mean, everybody listens to music in that way. I feel like, or you know, just because you're into what you're into now doesn't mean like you forgot like of what you're like. I do that all the time where I'm like, oh, I haven't listened to this in forever.
Yep.
Now I listen to them like, I fucking still like that. You know, like it does, you don't necessarily move on from like these things.
Do you
It's-
aspire to like the guilty pleasure?
I hate
artist?
no.
I don't like the term.
I used to. So I used this the way in high school. Like my guilty pleasure band, I guess, was Fall Out Boy, and the only reason was because like I was on a baseball team, and this kid. He was super into Fall Out Boy. So like I think when like the Dance video came out, there was like I don't know, some dance move in there where like he would do like a seizure thing on the floor, which maybe insensitive at this point, but I don't know. Anyways, like they would like roast him so much, and like they'd make him do it, and I'm like, he's getting bullied just because he likes it. So I kept it quiet because of that.
Like nobody should ever know.
I'm not getting bullied too.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, and he was like a senior, and I was like a freshman on the team. I'm like, I'm gonna get destroyed. Like,
They're gonna beat my ass.
I was like, I'm getting my ass beat. And the thing that sucks is that like the first time I ever saw Fall Out Boy was this past like week, like because like I didn't full out go on, like I didn't get to go and see them, live when I was super like into them. Like, well, that kind of like sucks. So I really don't like that as much. Pretty much, if you like something, you like it. Who gets to like,
absolutely.
Right. That's what our like Spotify like wrapped end of the year shit is just all the shit you were embarrassed about earlier this year.
I'm not embarrassed.
I am not
shit.
embarrassed of any of mine.
I'm not embarrassed of
I
shit.
think one of my top.
I'm not either,
Michael
but
Jackson.
I should be.
Yeah, but I
You know what I
should
mean?
be.
Like,
So
You're shaming yourself.
mine in like middle school, my real big was Black Veil Brides. And looking back, I haven't listened to any other shit since Wretched and Divine.
I love
but
Black Veil Bride.
looking back at their older stuff, I'm like, you know what?
It had its
There's
place.
something to this.
They
Yeah.
slap.
The
Black Veil Bride
theatrics and like
slaps.
the hype that they had, like it was all Andy, but like it was
Well, Ashley,
was there for a
Kristen
reason.
Como was awesome.
Ashley Purdy.
Ashley Purdy was
Ashley
the love of
Purdy
my
was-
life.
he
on
was,
Facebook at one point. I was Alexis
Oh,
Purdy.
he was in a crew tribute band,
He
right?
was in a Motley Crue tribute band.
Yeah.
When-
Of course he
that's
fucking
when
was.
we
Look at
started talking to him.
goes-
Like,
Look at him.
yeah.
They were all a Kiss cover band. It's whatever. That was my thing.
Yeah,
Love that
I think more people should realize that and be open to that. That's why like mixed genre shows are freaking cool sometimes.
Oh,
Like, if they're they're curated correctly. Like I was like, because I remember when we've done a few. I mean, this whole podcast was because of a festival we threw called Chill Sounds and Breakdowns, which is a mixed genre show. Like we were just like, let's put some random shit together. But DJ does a really good job of curating. Like, oh, if you like this, even though this is heavy as fuck, like there's a
should
little
check
bit of
out.
this in like
Yeah.
something else and figuring out that way and just more people being open. Like I don't know about y'all, but like I flip through like whenever I stream stuff, I jump so
Yep.
much into I don't know, like, and it's fine. Like I get it, like it'll sound good to me. I'm like, oh, I want to listen to this right after this. I'm like,
Right.
who cares? And I think if more people were less apprehensive about that, they'd open themselves to a lot like cooler music. You know?
I
Yeah.
think it expands, like, especially if you're a musician, having that, it, like, expands your ability to create
Yep.
Yeah.
within your own genre a little bit. It's like, my playlist goes from, I don't know, like, Veil of Maya and shit like that straight over to Michael Jackson, and then I'll
Yeah.
get, like, a Demi Lovato song there. I do like Demi Lovato songs.
Get some Hall & Oates.
I actually have some
Hall &
Hall & Oates in there as
We
well.
all have Hall & Oates.
Mine was like 90% K-pop last year.
No,
I'm not ashamed of that at all.
That's the one that I
Everyone
haven't
quiet.
really been able to gain yet.
I'm not
Kick
ashamed
Okay,
of that
I
at
get
all.
it.
Kick your ass.
Again, this goes back to the Asian
thought this
thing.
was a
I got a pass.
Time to get bullied.
I get a pass. Yeah, right. They're gonna put me in a locker.
Mine's been very big on like Pucciato again, and then like the home team has been really big on my play.
The home team's fucking sick.
Whatever they're doing with their content, like
Stop it.
anyways, they're doing really well. That and then like there for a while when the Fear that latest Spirit Box album came out.
Fear.
That was fucking on my shit because when they were dropping like hints of it, I was like, we're gonna concept album. We're gonna concept album. We're gonna concept album. And then we got one and I was like, nobody talk to me. I'm gonna be crying for a week. It
Oh my god.
was so good.
What is
Well,
happening?
he looked in his shoes.
I'm
so I had to
looking.
look
My
at
shoe
mine.
is coming apart inside, so I was looking at my shoe, and then he just decided to join
There's a
it.
reason they're over there.
The reason
I didn't take my ADHD medication this morning, and I'm just now realizing.
Oh boy.
I was gonna say it's like whatever's inside your
I
shoe,
took-
everybody's gonna get
I
to
took
see
my
it.
medicine today. I almost actually
I
didn't.
took mine.
I forgot-
almost
I
didn't
forgot to-
because I was like, I want to have a fun weekend. But I did. I took my medicine.
I forgot my ADHD medication today, and it's
Oh,
like
fuck.
I'm just now realizing it because I can't focus on a damn thing. I'm just like looking around the room, fucking with my shoes.
We treat our ADHD raw and unmedicated over here.
Hey,
We're just
The old
we're just over here.
natural way.
We're just over here raw dogging reality.
I forgot who I had in here, and they were talking about how like the music they were writing was like, oh, it's like, I struggle with ADHD, and this is how like my brain worked. They were describing it, and I'm like, oh, like I do that too. And like 3 times through the podcast, like on the 3rd time, like I kept agreeing with stuff that they were. I was like, Yeah, I was like, that happens to me like all the time, and I'm like, do I have ADHD? She's like, I didn't want to say anything,
Like,
but you
yes.
might want to talk to somebody. I'm not gonna diagnose you. I'm like, I'd rather just raw dog it. It's fine.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it's going.
Like,
I think it's like everybody probably has a little bit of it in them
Yeah.
these days. Like what level
If
it
it's
is.
not
like,
ADHD, it's that ADHD with the little bit of autism too.
no touch
That's
of the
kind of a touch of autism. That's kind of the pathway I've gone down. Not even. We got to rhythm somehow.
You got a rhythm with the
Rhythm with the tism. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I
wasn't ready for that.
You were ready for that?
I wasn't ready for that.
What, rhythm with the tism?
Tism.
I mean, I feel like everyone's a tiny bit autistic to some degree, like a tiny bit. Don't cancel me, please.
That's fine. Touch of the
Yeah, that,
A touch of the
that,
tism.
that,
Well,
A touch of the tism.
so we're gonna be looking for a new vocalist in the near future.
Wow.
That's discrimination.
Good luck with that.
Once the
You got a
media
touch of
rises
autism,
up.
trying
Yeah.
to replace you?
So, no, I'm just
It's 'cause I'm
saying
a woman?
she got
A
canceled.
National
We're
Women's
in hot
Month?
water now.
A Women's Month? What the fuck is
You
that?
know what? It's my birthday tomorrow. I get a pass.
I don't give a fuck.
I
This
can
fucking
be, I can
guy.
be sexist. My
I'm-
birthday's tomorrow.
That's
It's
not
my
how
birthday.
this works.
I don't know.
What do you want to do for your birthday?
It's my
Mr.
birthday,
Hunt?
sweetheart.
Sexism.
I want to get canceled.
I quit voluntarily.
Oh my god. Yeah, we hit the hour mark. That's what happened.
I'm just gonna. What the fuck were we even talking about?
I don't even remember anymore.
His birthday.
Yeah, definitely.
Your birthday's coming
I don't give a
out.
fuck about
Your
your
birthday's coming out like a music.
Yeah, we're pretty excited for it.
New
It's-
age dropping next week.
gonna
Y'all
be
check it
fire.
out.
This day 30 years ago, Nick was released.
Ooh, fire. Straight fire for 3 decades.
Should have put it back.
And I wasn't a fan of his earlier work.
No. It's a little new wave for my taste. Oh my god.
But yeah, no, it's my birthday tomorrow, and then your birthday next week.
Yeah.
Next Saturday,
Yeah,
so-
we're gonna shoot the music video the day after my birthday, so I will probably require energy drinks and maybe makeup.
It's
we're
gonna be a
have to
really
weekend
good.
at, we're gonna weekend at Bernie's Curtis.
Yeah. Oh yes.
It's also gonna be a. I know we were shooting for evening, but it's gonna be a morning shoot.
No.
I know. I know.
Shit.
I'm gonna be so.
Do y'all want to spend $600 on a venue?
Huh?
No.
I'm
No.
gonna be so.
No, this is gonna be great.
Great. Okay.
It's gonna be so much better this way.
We're gonna have so much fun. It's gonna
Shout
be
out
fun.
to Deej for hooking us up with the post.
Yeah, I heard y'all
Yeah.
are checking it.
Yeah,
I heard y'all
yeah.
are checking out the post.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, we're gonna go
Yep,
after
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It's a cool place. It sucks. It's fucking.
I've been there, but there are a bunch of babies that have not been there.
Yeah, it's closing at the end of the month.
Youngest
So
person here.
I am.
You'll be.
And the smallest.
I'm like the mom.
Come on.
Get
I'd be
on
like,
stool
come on,
and say that. to
Come
the-
on,
You
come on, write some music.
You need
You wanna
someone
go
to
see a
set it
video?
up though. Like somebody got. You need someone to keep everybody.
You want to make
on track.
content for our TikTok? Come on.
Let's make a TikTok.
Oh my fucking god.
Do you have a like? Is that like gonna be another like? Do you have a plan for that video? Like a concept?
We're all gonna be in it for once. We're all gonna be in
That's
it.
exciting.
You're
We
gonna
are
see
gonna put
everybody's
more
face.
than, more than one person in it.
We're all gonna be in
Yeah,
that
is
one.
the plan.
We've storyboarded out a concept for it. I mean, obviously, because we've kind of been going back and forth between venues. Like, I pretty much said, hey, I want to actually see what this place looks like in person before I
Yeah.
commit to a storyline.
It's
on
gonna be
that.
kind of like Lord of the Rings meets Pee Wee Herman
Oh,
kind of thing.
I like it. Very bold.
You know what? I would actually
very
pay
bold.
good money to see that.
Mixed with a little bit of American Psycho.
Ah.
I'm dying. You gotta lay some types out.
No, we kind of have like a basic like storyboard, but I think the most of it's just gonna be a performance video, just like as like a reintroduction to the lineup now, because like the last video was just me, and then this one's gonna have him too, which will be nice. Get out there.
I am in there. I did I did one guitar
yeah,
playthrough
he did the guitar playthrough video.
for the Jester, and it was like, and then Clay was like, Alexis is going to be so mad she didn't get like this good production quality on her vocal take.
I didn't-
was like,
I didn't
the
want it.
music video was her fucking vocal
That's
playthrough.
true, but also I told him I was like, just film it on my phone because I'm just gonna put it on TikTok. Like this is for the TikTok girlies because a lot of my TikTok following has been like angry girls, which is totally fine.
That's cool.
That's where that's their
whatever.
target audience.
Angry
there, I
girl
guess.
found her niche.
Whatever works.
That whatever works.
Yeah, they're like, man, I wish I could do that, and I'm like, you can just go through some shit.
Yeah.
Just go through some
Be
shit.
angry,
It's fine.
Just write it down.
Just get angry.
Exactly. Just get mad and start screaming into the void, and eventually you'll find the right
You gotta get
muscle memory. Essentially. So that's kind of where my TikTok fan base is going right now.
Fun.
It's fun.
Nice.
It is
Like,
very
whatever
fun.
works, man. Whatever's bringing people to listen, because the journey to find your actual audience is the most important one in like a band. Because there's a bunch of people like, especially like, I feel like people run into that when they play like their hometowns a lot, where it's like, oh, these people like us, and go, but who really likes you? Like,
Yeah.
who's gonna,
Who's
wait?
showing out and
Is
showing their
excited?
ass?
Like, who's going to your shows? Who's buying like your merch? Like, and
Finland.
who's like ready? For
Finland is really hot on us right now.
Finland loves us for whatever reason.
Like overnight, we had like when we first dropped the Jester, it was like 2K streams in Finland immediately.
Fuck.
Yeah.
I know. It was like, I don't know what these people in Helsinki are doing
We're
besides
going.
freezing, but we'll give them more music.
Dude, the everyone I've talked to that's played like in Europe now, like the Europe scene is so crazy for like
I
music.
bet.
Like people like that's what I forget who I was talking to, but they were like, no, that's what they do. Like their nights out are like shows, like
Yeah.
concerts.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're going to do. Like they don't do fucking movies. They know it. Like they're going to like to see me. And then like all the venues have like really nice amenities. Like I was talking to Jonathan from Unity, who just like got back from Europe, and he's like, dude, we like every place we went, we had 2 meals, like nice
That's
meals,
awesome.
like catered for them.
So we
Like,
need to
they had
hurry
places
up
to like
too.
Yeah,
stuff like that
moving.
over there. Like every
Yeah.
venue, like I think only one venue didn't have like a shower. Like, but all the other ones that we
Damn.
played were like.
I think when we were in Colorado, we got to chase a shot of Jameson with Aju, and that was pretty cool.
that's a good perk.
Honestly though, the 3 shows we did in Colorado though were an absolute blast. Like we got
yeah, they
treated
were.
so well out there.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're hot.
Seriously.
There's a reason they're
I love
so
it.
nice
Yeah.
over there.
But
Hey.
like it was weird though, 'cause, like,
you know, whatever.
it's funny, dude, because I'd go around talking to people, and be like, dude, everybody here is like so ridiculously nice.
Yeah.
And then every one of them was like, yeah, we're all stoned. Like, I was like, well, I mean, yeah,
I
it
went
works,
through there.
I guess.
I went through there TMing for Bro Job last May of last year, and same thing. People were just so like welcoming, and they were just like almost ready to do whatever we needed. Like anytime I walked up to the bar owner, he would be like, "But everything's like, what do you need? What do you need?" I'm like, I just need paper towels. Like, we're good. We're good.
People with some paper towels now.
But they were always so like communicative and like.
Because he thought she
welcoming.
was a little kid and she spilled something.
Oh hell!
Me? What?
Randy, go mop that up.
They were
can't even
also.
see over
I
the
remember
bar.
that show. Off topic. There was one person dressed up as that clown from Death Clock, the Metalopolis.
Roxo.
Yes.
Roxo.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, okay, at a bro job show. What?
That makes sense. Oh.
It was wild.
Honestly, one of the
Yeah.
least surprising things I would think of for a bro job show.
I don't know what to expect. A lot more penises than Roxo, I guess, but they nailed it. They nailed it.
There were more penises? Or you
Yes, it was
expected
bro
there to
job.
be
I
more
expected
penises?
more.
Oh.
We expected more.
oh,
so not enough.
No,
people.
So
no
not
bro
enough
job in
penis.
the future.
Just
You
keep
need
your
more
story
dicks
straight.
in your
Not an
shows.
adequate number of
Wow.
penises.
So,
I see.
so
Yes.
the audience disappointed.
Yes, the audience
Not enough,
disappointed
not
a
enough.
little bit.
Ah,
More
yeah.
phallus.
Wait, not
No.
enough penises
Good
in the
numbers.
audience?
Whoa.
Yep.
Where are the penises supposed to be?
So anyway,
With hope and
Shut
fact.
it down.
Where are the penises? With hope
Wherever
and
you
fact.
want
Where
it
are
to
the
be.
We're
penises?
asking the tough questions.
wherever you want them to be, really like their whole appeal is like they're called bro job. They're kind of a joke, but
I get it because it sounds
also
like
not.
blowjob.
Hey,
But,
Hey, this is a family show. Calm
Is
down.
it? No. But no, that was a really good time, and that was out in Colorado and Washington. PNW Knockout Fest. That was a lot of fun.
Again, places with
Places
happy
aren't
cabbage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Happy
tend to be a little bit happier than everybody
Places
else.
outside of here. than-
Electric lettuce?
places outside of here. That's one of my biggest concerns is like oversaturating our hometown. I don't want to do that. I would hope that we don't do that.
Yeah, like you were saying earlier with, playing for the people in your hometown, it's like it's great to have that following
Yeah.
in your hometown, but you have to be able to expand outside of that because like if you're just playing to the same audience
For it to work.
yeah, for it to
Yeah.
work, if you're playing to the same audience month after month after month, you're going to start noticing that crowds start to slowly dwindle down as the people who were like,
catch 'em
oh, I
next
saw
month."
you last month, I'll catch you
I'll catch
next
'em next
month.
month.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. And then
I
all
do
of a
that
sudden
often with
your
bands here.
100 people venue or like your 100-person show is now down to like 50.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah, I think that's super important to pay attention to. It's some of the boring stuff that like I hate paying attention to sometimes. Like when I was in a band, it's figuring that stuff out. But yeah, you want to make it like to sound stupid. Like it's just like a special like people are making time to go out to a show. Like
Yeah.
oh, it's like I haven't seen them. Like I've only played once this year or
Right.
like, blah, blah blah or whatever. And yeah, you want to expand past like this. You want to get a foundation too, because like having a hometown support like is always great. But yeah, figuring out those people outside of that area, immediate area, so that you can eventually tour because that's what people want to do.
Sure.
But yeah, I think you guys are off to a really strong start. I'm super excited on what y'all have
thank
coming
you.
out.
Thank you.
Music video is gonna be fun. Next week y'all are filming, right?
Next week.
Yeah.
17th. Yep.
This
St. Patty's
this
Day.
out. Oh shit!
Yeah.
That's St. Patrick's Day.
Yep.
theme?
Yeah.
No.
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 We can throw something
The
in there.
theme-
We could. I am the
The
leprechaun.
theme is us all being hungover.
Just give me one scene in a Leprechaun scene. It doesn't even have to be like a big one, just like a quick cut.
Ooh.
Just so people are like a little subliminal message. Be like,
Jump scare.
An Easter egg. Patty.
Oh my
Alright.
god.
All right, so new song, sometime maybe before May, before the show.
Yes.
Show
Absolutely.
first show in May.
It is in May. It's
We're-
not announced yet. Though.
We're announcing it this week, and
Oh,
then this
really?
will come out
About
later.
time,
Yeah,
anyway.
I think this week.
So
yeah.
yes, May 11th.
May 11th. So that'll be
May
fun.
11th. At the
That'll be
Haltom, right?
Yes, Haltom Side Stage.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? What other locals are on that one? Did y'all get any more?
Anyways, moving on. I should know. It's it's our show, but I'm like, I know Dreamwake's playing. That's all I know.
Yeah.
I can look it up here. But that's so new music, first show, and music video dropping sometime soon. So you guys got a lot of stuff cooking. I'm excited to hear the new music for this year and what you guys are gonna start writing. Man, I'm just pumped. I'm pumped.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you guys seem really awesome. I like the dynamic. They even like how new parts of it are. Like you just join it. It just I don't know. I like the dynamic.
Right. It's like
cool.
it seems like super organic.
Yeah.
Like we're all just
this whole group is
stupid
one
together.
big joke.
I got out of the
that
car.
happens to make music.
I got out of the car and I said, "Let's go, fuckos!" And so that was like our. That's
Yeah,
like,
she was the last one.
And here we
Shut
are.
up.
Here we go. But no, I appreciate y'all coming by and stopping by.
Thanks
It's
for
been
having us.
awesome. Absolutely,
Yeah,
you
man.
are completely always welcome back. Like absolutely.
So
I'll be back
same
next
time
week.
next week.
Yeah.
next week. But thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. We will, this has been episode 101.
101, baby.
101 Dalmatians.
100.
Call me Cruella.
Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Time inside, better lose your man. We should run away, love me instead.
Choose sounds and breakdowns.
Love me instead. Time inside, better lose your man. We should run away together while we still can.